Good evening, sir. So we can start the session.
So today's session is on European Diploma Intensive Care Part 1. It's a mostly MCQ based exam. And when you gradually pass it and go to the EDIC Part 2, the topics and contents remain the same. So we'll follow up with MCQs only. So as per shock. So first is the hemodynamic monitoring, how we do it. And the MCQ will read like this. A ventilated ICU patient with atrial fibrillation is being assessed for fluid responsiveness, which is the best method, most appropriate method for atrial fibrillation. Is it a dynamic parameters like stroke volume variation, pulse pressure variation, pulse contour analysis, which will vary as per the atrial fibrillation, or is it only passive leg raise and echo-based cardiac output measurement? Is always what we do at the bedside is echo-based assessment. You do fluid response, passive leg raise and check the VTI, more than 10 to 15% change, even with atrial fibrillation, makes the patient fluid responsiveness. Next question. Peak method of atrial fibrillation, where we calculate the cardiac output. Either we have a pulmonary artery catheter to measure the thermodilution method. So is it a correct way of measuring the cardiac output in atrial fibrillation? Inaccurate due to arrhythmia, gold standard, and unaffected by atrial fibrillation, cannot be used in ICU, or overestimates cardiac output in atrial fibrillation. The answer is it is a gold standard, but it's sometimes impractical because you have to have a pulmonary artery catheter or thermodilation technique based catheters. So it's impractical but accurate. A patient with atrial fibrillation is being monitored with a PICO monitor, which is a transpulmonary pulse thermodilation method plus pulse contour analysis. Which component remains stable during atrial fibrillation? As we know, the dynamic parameters gives a false result in atrial fibrillation. It is only transpulmonary thermodilation cardiac output measurement methods which is accurate in atrial fibrillation, even if you don't have the pulmonary artery catheter. Then the question usually based on the how to differentiate between different shock, either it's obstructive or cardiogenic or septic shock or hypovolemic shock, how to differentiate based on the parameters you use. It's a clinical scenario where a 68-year-old gentleman comes with hypotension, so in shock, with AMI. The pulmonary catheter shows CBP 14, which is little high. Pulmonary capillary wedge pressure 22 is little high. Cardiac index is at 1.6, which is little low. And systemic vascular resistance is little high. So what kind of shock is it? Septic shock, hypovolemic shock, cardiogenic shock, or obstructive shock? It's going to be a cardiogenic shock because its CVP is high, PCWP is high, and cardiac index is low. If it is an obstructive shock, then CVP will be high, but PCWP will be low. So pulmonary capillary wedge pressure based differentiation of different shock has to be read well. Next question. Echo-based method. A patient in shock, warm extremities, bounding pulse, echo is hyperdynamic, LV with small cavity, and with the pulmonary capillary and cardiac index methods are like this. PCWP is low, SBR is low, and cardiac index is high. So there has to be a septic shock. because your cardiac output is high, bounding pulse. Okay. Next question. Trauma patient, cold extremity, flat neck veins, pulmonary artery catheter monitors are like low CVP, low PCWP, and low cardiac index. So all are low.
Register.
Hypovolemic shock causing the cardiac index to be
मेरा
low.
register